Hello and welcome back to Back Corner Comics, and I am very happy to be talking about the book today, which is The Eternaut by Osterheld and Lopez. We'll look into their first names when we open the book, but this was a much sought after book about 6 months ago. I sold my original copy because it was going for really high prices. And then literally a week later, they announced a reprint. I knew Fantagraphics would bring it back because of the Netflix show, and it was very popular and what have you. And yeah, so today we are going to be cracking open the reprint of the Eternaut. So let's get to it. So if you look at the solicit image, it does have the Netflix sticker. However, Fantagraphics did the genius job of including that on the plastic of the book. So that way you don't have to scrape it off and then there's sticky residue. So shouts out to Fantagraphics for always having the collector in mind and talking about collecting. This is an amazing book to collect because of the format. This is the main character right here, and throughout the film, him and the cast of heroes wear this kind of protective gear to protect them from this poisonous snow. Let's get this off. Very, very, very beautiful release. Very well designed. You know, when do you not pick up a Fantagraphics book that is designed, to the 10th degree? And then also it has this dust jacket as well. So there's two barriers of protection on this book. And it was originally published in a newspaper, I believe. It could have been a magazine, but regardless, it's in the horizontal format. And it'll blind you like it just blinded you guys as I opened that. Um, I love books that are presented horizontally. I'm a big fan of newspaper strips, and actually, the Eternaut opened that door for me. So very happy I got this. So yeah, what is the Eternaut about? So the Eternaut is this Latin American comic. It is written by Hector German Osterheld, and it's drawn by Francisco Solano Lopez. I myself am of a Hispanic descent, and I have two last names just like this guy right here. It is kind of funny, but yeah. So this is like I said, it's from Latin America, and I say this with a lot of pride. To think that uh, Fantagraphics champion Brescia and this title as well. I'm sure they're going to be exploring various other Spanish artists. And it's just phenomenal to think that we have an American publisher that's willing to go to bat for these creators and give them a new audience that, maybe there wasn't before. Now, there is another version of the Eternaut that is published by Fantagraphics, and that one is drawn by Brescia. We will not be looking at that one today. I sold that copy as well. And so we're just going to be looking at this one. But yeah, so basically, this traveler from the future, I forget exactly how he describes himself, but he says, I have a story to tell you about what happened um, in my world. And he begins to tell this grand epic story. But he begins to tell this grand epic story. It feels like there is commentary about like this atomic age idea of, this is your domestic life, but also there's all these new forces that have been introduced through, the atom bomb and whatnot into our reality. Not saying that's where the enemies of this story come from, but it's just this great idea that I love whenever fiction explores. I think of Twin Peaks, for example, when David Lynch explores that in The Return. And yeah, so it's basically this guy and a group of survivors who are surviving through this alien invasion, essentially. And they dress up in this scuba diver like gear to venture forth into this essential wasteland, pretty much. And if the snow touches you, you die, sort of thing. There's a lot of great suspense. There's a lot of great tension here, and this really shows the format of newspaper strips to a T, because it does such a good job at building tension between the episodes. There's some human on human fighting, which is always really sad. And you can immediately tell it's drawn very well. The inking is amazing. I haven't read this in a long time, so I'm kind of murky on some of the details, but I will tell you guys this. If you decide to read this, it is such a great read to do in a few days. Sit down with it, make the time for it. You will not regret it. I love this book, and I'm so happy Fantagraphics brought it back. Hopefully they can reprint Mort Cinder next. That would be great as well. This is an alien guy. I don't want to show you guys too much, but we'll just flip through it a little more. There is a great introduction to it in the beginning, which really kind of sets the stage. I don't remember if there's back matter, but we'll see together. This came in the mail a few days ago. I haven't really had the chance to look through it again. So we're doing this together live. Well, not live, but you know what I'm saying. Look at that design. That is so creepy and abstract. It feels like one of those stop motion puppets in one of the old sci-fi movies from back in the day, or like a Twilight Zone. A great way to think about this is a very long, extended Twilight Zone episode, because there is so much of this mystery that needs to be solved. You have these characters that are pushing out into this, dangerous zone. Sometimes they're tricked. Sometimes they're doing the tricking. There's this great back and forth between the plot and the characters, and like what's going on, and they're fundamentally changing. It's really great stuff. And then the twist at the end is just, that has stayed with me. And I obviously don't want to tell you guys what that is. The art is just fantastic. It feels like, there's a depth of field effect going on. It feels like a movie. This is a very cinematic story, as you can tell, like in this panel right here. It feels like something out of Night of the Living Dead. And those bright orange end papers are just so funny. Let's see if there's... I don't think there's back matter. Yes, there is. So you get some back matter, a little essay at the front. This is so cool. It's like this great lo-fi, sci-fi sort of situation that I really love. Here's the guys. I believe this writer, I think it was him, but essentially, yeah, so he went missing. His whole family went missing by, he was politically active in his country, and his whole family went missing. It's kind of sad, really. So he had a very untimely death. Well, we assume death, right? Because he just went missing, maybe. Who knows? I don't even want to speculate. But yeah, this is the Eternaut reprint. Okay, but kind of a big deal. Very happy I got this. It became available on the Fantagraphics website, and I bought it up because you never know. I don't want to generate FOMO here, but reprints typically are smaller and smaller. It went out of print 2 times before, and something tells me it's going to go out of print again. It is a timeless story, to the point, that Netflix picked up a TV show version of it, which led to the second printing going out of print. But yeah, so this is the Eternaut. Please like, share, subscribe the video, all the nines. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.